Okay, if you suffer from paranoia, this is not the video for you. Hi, I'm your favorite dysfunctional scientist, and people have been telling me for years that their Wi-Fi could hear them, or their phone is reading their mind. And for the longest time I filed that under delusion, but wow, there might actually be possible. Now, if you've spent any time on the internet, you've probably heard somebody saying that your phone is listening to you. Turns out that was actually true. Thank you, Apple. But reading your mind is actually not out of the question. Now, the reason that this idea probably came up just in the general public is because there was a 1976 patent for something that could remotely read brainwaves. No idea if it worked, but things have developed since then. Turns out Wi-Fi can detect changes in a person, so things like changes in heart rate, for example. This kind of technology works with RF signals. The ones that your router gives off, they're bounced into a room and they can be bounced off of you, and they can be used to detect small changes in your physiology. A machine learning algorithm can then use that information, track you over time, and figure out what changes occurs, or it can compare that to a data set on what you are probably experiencing. If you were to analyze somebody's heart rate, you could figure out what emotions they're feeling. Essentially, with lie detectors, it works by establishing a baseline. It's not super effective to use a lie detector on somebody once. It's a lot better to look at them over time, and if something changes, well, that's suspicious. My fun fact is that in grad school, I participated in a lot of psychological studies. Some of them had me use a lie detector over a long period of time, or an EEG cap. I found out that if I simply told myself what I was saying was true or false, it would come up on the detector as what I wanted it to. Do not consider that advice. There are, of course, a lot of ways that this can be used. It could be used for remote monitoring of an individual. It could even hack through somebody's Wi-Fi system to monitor somebody if someone wanted to do such a thing, and combine that with machine learning, and we have something very effective. This can also be used to look at individuals in crowds. It could be used in something like an airport. It can be used to detect changes in how a crowd is behaving. We, of course, have seen that when crowds become unruly and we essentially get mob mentality. Detecting when behavior has changed could be very important for crowd control and safety. If you live in the US, you know that even on days like Black Friday, crowds can become quite dangerous, sometimes with fatal results. What did surprise me is how accurate these things are. Monitoring somebody so much as heart rate or remote changes in their physiology could actually correlate to emotional sensation. Being someone who probably can't tell you how they feel, that is interesting. If you yourself do not know what you feel, that's called alexithymia. No, it can't read your mind yet, but there is technology to do that. EEG caps, as I've told you guys about before, can now actually read somebody's inner monologue. But that does require learning. You read a book while your inner monologue is running, maybe read aloud, and that can be tracked back to what your mind is saying. It's going to vary between individuals, and it's not yet at the point where it can read anybody's mind. Let's also take a moment to acknowledge that robots are learning to listen to the sounds that plants give off and alert them to problems that may occur in plants. So yes, we can now read plants' minds. I do apologize if this was triggering in any way. Just remember, you're probably not important enough for anyone to want to investigate.